7 morning habits that predict you'll live past 90 takes just 30 seconds. I'm Dr. Jessica Lee. Hello there, wonderful friends. Dr. Jessica Lee here. I'm so grateful you've joined me today for what might be one of the most important conversations we'll have about your health and longevity. Throughout my career as a physician, working with thousands of patients over the age of 70, I've noticed something remarkable. The patients who consistently lived into their 90s and beyond, often with clear minds, strong bodies, and joyful spirits, shared certain morning habits. These weren't complicated medical interventions or expensive treatments. They were simple, daily choices that anyone can implement. Today, I'm going to share with you the 7 morning habits that research and my clinical experience suggest can dramatically increase your chances of living well past 90. And the best part, most of these take just minutes to incorporate into your routine. Number 4 takes just 30 seconds of your day. Yes, that's all, but could add years to your life. Before we begin, I want you to know something important. It's never too late to start these habits. Whether you're 65, 75, or even 85, the human body has an incredible capacity to respond positively to healthy changes. I've seen patients make dramatic improvements in their health by implementing these very habits we'll discuss today. So let's dive in, shall we? Here are the 7 morning habits that predict you'll live past 90. Morning hydration ritual. The first habit I consistently see in my long-lived patients is that they begin each day with proper hydration, but not just any hydration. When you wake up in the morning, your body has gone without water for 7-8 hours. You're naturally dehydrated, which thickens your blood, stresses your heart, and slows cognitive function. My patients who live into their 90s almost universally start their day with 16 ounces of water before anything else. Let me tell you about 2 of my patients. Both were 78 when they first came to see me. Martha would wake up and immediately have her coffee, often not drinking any water until midday. She frequently complained of morning headaches, constipation, and feeling foggy until afternoon. Then there was Walter, who kept a glass of water by his bedside. Every morning for 40 years, before even getting out of bed, he would drink that entire glass, refill it, and drink half of the second glass too. Walter rarely experienced constipation, had remarkably good blood pressure for his age, and maintained clear thinking throughout the day. When Martha adopted Walter's morning hydration habit, within just 3 weeks, her chronic constipation improved dramatically, her morning headaches disappeared, and she reported feeling mentally sharper earlier in the day. But here's the special twist that my longest giver patients add. They don't just drink plain water. They add either a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, a splash of apple cider vinegar with a bit of honey, or a few slices of cucumber. These additions provide electrolytes, enzymes, and compounds that support liver function and digestion to start your day. The science behind this is compelling. Proper morning hydration improves cognitive function by up to 14%, reduces heart strain, supports kidney function, which naturally diminishes as we age, and helps maintain healthy blood pressure. So habit number 1, before you reach for your coffee or tea, drink 16 ounces of water, ideally with a small nutritious addition like lemon juice, within 30 minutes of waking up. 5 minutes of gentle movement before breakfast. The second morning habit I've observed in people who live well into their 90s is that they move their bodies before breakfast, not intensely, but intentionally. Your body's metabolism naturally slows with age. By moving before breakfast, you activate your muscles, stimulate circulation, and set your metabolism for the day. This isn't about high-intensity exercise. It's about gentle, purposeful movement. Let me share the stories of 2 sisters I treated, both in their mid-70s when they first came to see me. Alina would wake up, have breakfast while watching the news, and then maybe take a walk later if she felt like it or if the weather was nice. Her sister Carmen, on the other hand, would wake up and do 5 minutes of gentle stretching right next to her bed, followed by a short walk around her garden or down her hallway if the weather was bad, before having her breakfast. Carmen, now 92, has maintained her independence, has stronger bones, better balance, and experiences significantly less joint pain than her sister Elena, who unfortunately passed away at 83 after complications from a fall. What kind of movement am I suggesting? It can be as simple as gentle stretching for your major muscle groups, walking in place or around your home for 5 minutes, simple Tai Chi movements, seated or standing yoga poses appropriate for your mobility level. The research on this is clear. Moving before breakfast helps regulate blood sugar throughout the day, improves insulin sensitivity, crucial for preventing diabetes and cognitive decline, stimulates circulation to your brain, and signals to your body that it's time to be active and alert. One study from Japan's Longevity Research Institute found that seniors who moved for just 3 to 5 minutes before their first meal of the day had blood sugar levels that were 15–20% more stable throughout the day compared to those who didn't. So, habit number 2, before breakfast, engage in 5 minutes of gentle, intentional movement. This isn't about breaking a sweat, it's about waking up your muscles, joints, and metabolism. 3, preoperative risks at breakfast. The third morning habit of people who live into their 90s and beyond involves what they eat for breakfast, not just when they eat it. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing protein and building muscle. This leads to sarcopenia, age muscle loss, which is directly linked to frailty, falls, and loss of independence. My patients who maintain their strength and vitality into their 90s consistently consume at least 25–30 grams of protein with their breakfast. This morning, protein serves as the foundation for maintaining muscle mass, supporting immune function, and providing steady energy throughout the day. Consider my patients Robert and James, both 82 when they first came to see me. Robert typically had toast with jam and coffee for breakfast, a common but low protein choice. James, however, made a point of having 2 eggs with his toast, or Greek yogurt with nuts and berries, or a protein smoothie. Over the 5 years I treated them, the difference became striking. Robert progressively lost strength in his hands, making it difficult to open jars or carry groceries. James maintained hand strength similar to someone in their 60s. When we measured their muscle mass, Robert had lost nearly 12% over those 5 years, while James had lost only 3%, a remarkable preservation of muscle for someone in their 80s. The science on this is unequivocal. A study from the Journal of Gerontology showed that adults over 70 who consumed at least 25 grams of protein at breakfast had significantly better muscle synthesis throughout the day compared to those who had their protein later in the day. Some excellent breakfast protein options include 2 eggs with whole grain toast, Greek yogurt with nuts and berries, a smoothie with whey or plant protein, fruit, and greens, cottage cheese with fruit, overnight oats made with milk and added nuts or seeds. So habit number 3, consume 25–30 grams of quality protein with your breakfast. This simple change in what you eat, not how much, can dramatically impact how well you maintain your strength and independence as you age. 30-second gratitude practice. Now we come to habit number 4, the one that takes just 30 seconds but could add years to your life. My patients who thrive into their 90s practice morning gratitude. This might sound surprising in a discussion about longevity, but the connection between psychological well-being and physical health becomes increasingly pronounced as we age. A 30-second gratitude practice each morning fundamentally changes your brain chemistry, immune function, and cardiovascular health. I'll never forget Mr. Henderson, who came to me at 79 with high blood pressure, prediabetes, and what he described as a permanent bad mood. His wife had passed 2 years earlier, and he admitted he'd fallen into negativity and bitterness. At my suggestion, he reluctantly agreed to try a simple morning gratitude practice. Each morning before getting out of bed, he would think of 3 specific things he was grateful for that day. They could be as simple as, I'm grateful for the comfortable bed I slept in, or I'm grateful that my daughter is going to call today. Within 3 months, his blood pressure had improved so significantly that we reduced his medication. After 6 months, his blood sugar levels had stabilized, but most remarkably, at his 1-year follow-up, he told me, "Doc, I didn't expect to enjoy being alive again, but I do." Mr. Henderson is now 93 and volunteers at his local hospital 3 days a week. The science behind this 30-second habit is compelling. Morning gratitude practice reduces cortisol stress hormone levels by up to 23%. It improves heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular health. It strengthens immune function with studies showing increased production of disease-fighting cells. It reduces inflammatory markers that are associated with heart disease, arthritis, and cognitive decline. This habit is simple. Before you get out of bed or as you're having your morning water, take 30 seconds to identify 3 specific things you're grateful for today. The key is specificity, not just I'm grateful for my family, but I'm grateful that my son called yesterday, or I'm grateful that I can still enjoy my morning walk. These 30 seconds literally change your brain and body chemistry for the next 24 hours. Among all the habits I'm sharing today, this may be the easiest to implement, but has some of the most profound effects on both longevity and quality of life. 5 mornings sunlight exposure. The 5th habit I consistently observe in patients who live well into their 90s is deliberate exposure to morning sunlight. Getting natural light, particularly within the first hour after waking, sets your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock that regulates sleep, hormone production, blood pressure, and even cognitive function. This becomes increasingly important as we age and our circadian rhythms naturally weaken. Let me tell you about Elaine and Dorothy, identical twin sisters I treated for over a decade. Genetically, they were identical, but their morning habits differed in one significant way. Elaine would have her breakfast near a sunny window or, weather permitting, on her porch. Dorothy, who lived in the same town, typically kept her curtains drawn in the morning and didn't get significant natural light until later in the day. By their mid-80s, Elaine was sleeping better, had more stable moods, and had significantly better bone density than her sister. Dorothy struggled with insomnia and seasonal depression. When Dorothy finally adopted her sister's morning sunlight habit, her sleep improved within weeks and her mood stabilized within months. The science explains why. Morning sunlight exposure increases serotonin levels, improving mood and cognitive function. It triggers vitamin D production, crucial for bone health, immune function, and inflammation reduction. It regulates melatonin production later in the day, improving sleep quality. It helps maintain a healthy weight by regulating metabolic hormones. This habit is simple. Within an hour of waking up, expose yourself to natural daylight for at least 10-15 minutes. This could mean having your breakfast near a sunny window, sitting on your porch or balcony, taking a short morning walk, gardening in the morning hours. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is much brighter than indoor lighting and provides the benefits I've described. For those with mobility limitations, sitting near a window where natural light streams in can make a significant difference. So habit number 5, get 10-15 minutes of natural morning light exposure within an hour of waking up. Your brain, bones, and mood will thank you for decades to come. 6, morning brain stimulation. The 6th habit of those who maintain sharp minds into their 90s and beyond is engaging in mental stimulation first thing in the morning. Your brain is most receptive to new information and challenges within the first few hours after waking. My patients who maintain cognitive clarity into their 90s almost universally engage their brains with some form of mental challenge in the morning. Consider my patients Harold and William, both retired engineers in their late 70s when they first came to see me. Harold would wake up and immediately turn on the television, often watching for hours before engaging in any mental activity. William, however, had a ritual of doing a crossword puzzle with his morning tea, reading the newspaper thoroughly, or learning new words in a foreign language app for just 15 minutes. 10 years later, the difference in their cognitive function was remarkable. Harold showed significant decline in processing speed and short-term memory, while William maintained cognitive testing scores similar to someone 15 years younger. When Harold eventually adopted a morning mental stimulation habit at age 87, his cognitive decline notably slowed, demonstrating that it's never too late to start. The neuroscience here is fascinating. Mental stimulation in the morning increases production of BDNF, brain degraded neurotrophic factor, which promotes neural growth and protection, strengthens neural connections that tend to weaken with age. builds cognitive reserve, which helps your brain compensate for age changes. It activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, improving overall brain function. The key is finding something that genuinely interests you and requires active mental engagement, not passive consumption. Some excellent options include crossword puzzles or Sudoku, reading a book and taking mental notes, learning a new language or skill for 15 minutes, playing a musical instrument, writing in a journal, engaging in thoughtful conversation about current events. So, habit number 6, engage in active mental stimulation for at least 15 minutes each morning. This isn't about making your brain work hard. It's about giving it the regular, gentle exercise it needs to stay sharp for decades to come. Habit 7, morning connection with others or nature. The seventh and final habit I observe in patients who live vibrant lives well into their 90s is morning connection, either with other people or with the natural world. Loneliness and isolation are now recognized as health risks comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. My longest lived patients make a point of connecting with someone or something beyond themselves each morning. I think of my patient Eleanor, who lived alone after her husband passed away. She made it a point each morning to either call a friend or family member during breakfast, wave and chat with her neighbors as she got her newspaper, or spend time talking to and caring for her plants and bird feeders in her garden. At 97, Eleanor had lower inflammation markers than many patients in their 70s. When she was hospitalized briefly at 94 for a minor issue, the nurses were amazed at how many visitors she had. The social connections she had cultivated for decades were literally sustaining her. The research supports what I've observed clinically. Morning social connection reduces stress hormones and inflammatory markers. Even brief positive social interactions increase oxytocin, which supports heart health. For those who connect with nature, blood pressure measurements improve and stress markers decrease. Regular social connection is associated with up to a 50% reduced risk of dementia. This habit can take many forms. A phone call to a friend or family member, breakfast with a spouse or housemate where you really engage in conversation, a morning walk where you greet neighbors, feeding birds and observing wildlife in your yard, tending to houseplants or garden plants, which research shows creates a form of meaningful connection, participating in a morning group activity like a walking club or exercise class. So, habit number 7, create a meaningful connection each morning, whether with a person, a pet, or the natural world. This connection literally creates physiological changes that support longevity. As we wrap up our discussion of these 7 morning habits, I want to emphasize something crucial. Longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. The patients I've seen who incorporate these habits into their morning routines don't just reach their 90s, they reach their 90s with clear minds, capable bodies, and joyful spirits. Let's recap these 7 habits. 1, the morning hydration ritual. 16 ounces of water, ideally with lemon or other healthy additions. 2, 5 minutes of gentle movement before breakfast. 3, prioritizing protein at breakfast, 25, 30 grams. 4, the 30-second gratitude practice. 5, morning sunlight exposure for 10, 15 minutes. 6, morning brain stimulation for at least 15 minutes. 7, creating a meaningful connection each morning. Now, I don't expect you to implement all 7 of these habits tomorrow. That would be overwhelming for anyone. Instead, I encourage you to choose just one habit that resonates with you and feels manageable. Once that becomes part of your routine, which typically takes about 21 days, add another. Remember, these habits are cumulative and synergistic. While each one independently supports longevity, together they create a morning routine that sets the stage for vibrant aging and extraordinary longevity. I'd love to hear which of these habits you're going to try first or which ones you're already practicing. Please share in the comments below which habit resonated with you the most and why. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a thumbs up so others can find it too. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I share evidence-based strategies for longevity and vibrant aging every week. Thank you for investing this time in your health and longevity. Remember, the choices you make each morning quite literally determine how many mornings you'll have in your life, and more importantly, the quality of those mornings. This is Dr. Jessica Lee wishing you health, vitality, and many, many more mornings to come. Until next time. Before you go, if you know someone over 70 who could benefit from these simple morning habits, please share this video with them. It could quite literally add years to their life and life to their years. And if you're implementing these habits yourself, I'd love to hear about your experience after a few weeks. Drop me a comment about the changes you've noticed. Your story might inspire someone else to make these simple but powerful changes. Don't forget to download my free guide, the 90 Plus Morning Routine Checklist, using the link in the description below. It provides a simple way to track these habits until they become second nature. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.